You're listening to Where You Live with Gene and Tony.
Welcome back to Where You Live with Gene and Tony. We're broadcasting live from the Concierge Landscape Studios, and we're brought to you the second hour by Extreme Exteriors. And if you're just joining us, there is a new topic we want to kind of cover now. In Illinois, there is a legislator who would like to see that proxies be outlawed for use by homeowner associations. Mm-hmm. And we found that this is a kind of a real interesting take here. We want to get what your thoughts are on it, but we're also happy to have with us, joining us right now, Chad Johnson, who's one of the founding partners of Helmuth and Johnson. Good morning, Chad.
Good morning.
Thanks for being part of the show here with us.
Yep.
Let me just read this quickly and get your thoughts, Chad. This was something that was being offered by Representative Elaine Nekritz at District 57 in Illinois. It says a bill in the Illinois House of Representatives to ban voting by proxy in condo board elections will not be voted on this year. The committees are still reviewing the bill, and it will be taken up next January, so it looks like it was delayed till next year. But the bill introduced on February 24th would amend the Illinois Condominium Property Act to no longer allow one unit owner to vote on behalf of another. An owner would, however, be allowed to vote by mail. This bill did not make it out of the Rules Committee by the deadline date, said a legislative aide for Nekritz on Tuesday, which basically means it's dead for this session. According to Emily Kluzniewski, a constituent of Representative Nekritz, she expressed concerns about the proxy voting and the dishonesty and trouble it can cause in board elections. This particular constituent was running for the board, but with the proxy votes voting allowed by others to vote on behalf of other residents, condo owners are able to keep the same friends in office. And so Nekritz thought that this would be a good solution to that problem. Chad, what do you think of this?
Well, I think, as you mentioned earlier, homeowners associations are corporations, and we've always recognized the ability of a shareholder, or in this case, a homeowner in a homeowners association, to vote by proxy, to assign their right to another person to show up at meetings. And I really think that this is an important right, not only for a homeowner to be able to assign that right to someone else and allow their voice to be heard at the meeting through the use of a proxy, but also for the homeowners association in meeting quorum requirements. Mm-hmm. I mean, we have a number of homeowners associations that struggle with getting the minimum number of people to show up at meetings. Yes. And so using proxies is a very important step in making sure that our homeowners associations have the ability to conduct their business, because if we don't have a quorum, we can't take votes on important issues, get budgets passed, and continue to move the business of the association along.
Yeah. Later in this article, Chad, someone else, a chairman of a committee that was organized to recommend the change in this law, said that proxy voting is the single most abused concept in the Condominium Property Act in Illinois. Do you see it coming up as a problem in Minnesota?
I don't. I think anytime you have proxies, and now it certainly is subject to some abuses. I mean, you could have someone going out and basically campaigning to collect proxies from disinterested homeowners in order to gain more votes at a homeowners association meeting. And I think, as the constituent mentioned in the article, the fear is that we'll go and we'll gather up all of these proxies so that we can keep our cronies on the board of directors, and we really don't have a fair election. But I think that the comeback to that position, and I think it's important to allow proxies and to keep them in place, is that the one thing that always defeats a proxy, even if I give you my proxy to vote at the meeting, nothing prevents me from actually showing up at the meeting and basically canceling out that proxy and casting my own vote.
Sure, good point.
And so in that situation, you always have the ability that if homeowners are interested in an issue, even if they've given a proxy before, they can still show up and cast their vote.
And that's what we really find when an issue becomes a hot button in a homeowners association. That association does get that attendance.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and it's I think an important one. I guess a point to make here that you stated already, Chad, and that is it is not illegal. There's nothing wrong with a homeowner to try and gather other proxies prior to any annual meeting.
Correct.
And that is the way people campaign.
Sure.
That's how people try to prove their point. And in this particular case, one of the things that we're hearing so often is that people are crying out, "This is not fair. This is not fair." And
why? But why isn't this fair? Is it unfair because Emily didn't get elected to her board? Does that one person in this one instance mean the whole practice is unfair? I don't think so.
Yeah, it's not, or it's simply a case of someone not knowing the proper procedure of how their corporation is run. I mean, would you say that that's a fair statement to make, that most homeowners don't understand what their responsibility is as a shareholder in that corporation?
I think that is a fair statement to say, and again, I go back to the level of disinterest in many cases on your average everyday issues with regard to approving a budget or doing something along those lines. It's hard to get homeowners to come out to these meetings and vote on the budget and some of the more mundane issues of the association, but you want to pass a special assessment or raise dues, you're going to have a lot more interest in those kinds of issues.
Yeah. That's true. It could be taken as an indication that things are running smoothly in the homeowners association if people are willing to just send a proxy and to get a new board elected.
And I think in this particular case where the homeowner was upset with the fact that she wasn't elected to the board of directors, she can use the same process to her benefit. She can go out and collect proxies.
Exactly.
And if she's concerned that people have collected proxies in an unfair manner, then she can go out and talk to her fellow homeowners about canceling out the proxies that they've already given by showing up at the meeting and casting their vote.
There you go.
So, we appreciate you weighing in on this morning, Chad. And for our listeners now, too, I'd like to let them know that Hillmuth and Johnson is a cornucopia of resources and information. And could you tell our listeners how they can get? You guys write a lot of different articles and on different positions on things issues that come up in the homeowner associations. How can they access some of that information?
Well, there's a couple of different ways. I mean, certainly just a direct phone call to my office, 952-941-4005, and they can speak with any of my community association attorneys. Other than that, they can also access us over the Internet, www.hjlawfirm.com, otherwise mncommunityassociation.com as well.
Yeah. Well, thanks for being part of the show this morning.
Absolutely.
Well, folks, we're going to take another break. When we come back in our quest in asking the question, what is reasonable? We're going to ask the question, when does HOA enforcement become unreasonable? We're going to deal with a situation in North Carolina. We'll take a break. You're listening to Where You Live with Gene and Tony on AM 1280, The Patriot.